we have some sad news. So obviously, with this pandemic that's happening worldwide, many companies are significantly affected and trying to survive in this difficult climate. But for some, they have shut down for good. And one of those companies, a local company here in the Philippines, SunStar Baguio, has shut down after 30 years of operation. So it's kind of sad to see many companies, but it is the nature of the beast. So to stay in relevance or in competitive nature, you have to find ways to innovate and find ways to generate revenue. Now, according to the article here at Rappler.com, they mentioned that one of the pillars of SunStar Baguio, which is based in Northern Luzon for 30 years, according to its chief editor, Osis, they have shut down. I mean, is it their fault or is it because of the pandemic here? Maybe a little bit of both. So let's take a closer look. So obviously the pandemic has, diminished the paper's revenue, and it stopped its operation way back in 2010. So let's see here. 2010, yeah. So they stopped its operation way back in March 2020. That was at the start of the lockdown, and then they were able to open a few months later, July 2020. But the problem is, by the time they resumed their daily operation, it was too much of a burden, and by then, it had already taken its toll, and obviously people have shifted their preferences in a sense, and obviously buying newspapers, has been going down recently, not just recently, but in the past few years. And you can just take a look at some of the bigger newspaper outlets, not just locally, but in abroad, have been either absorbed, filed for bankruptcy, or even shifted to online newsprint. But obviously not everyone has the resources. So in the case of the company, they actually adjusted their operations and reverted to a weekly operation. But eventually by the end of the year, December 30, actually up to January 3rd of early this year, that was their last print of edition. And obviously it's sad to see companies go under, and people who were employed for so long have to look for new jobs. And according to the editor-in-chief, they mentioned that they are no longer operating as a newspaper entity, including their social media. So they have no more updates to conduct, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Now, obviously, printing business, particularly for newsprint, is very difficult. Obviously, you have options now online to just search for news article and so forth here. And it's not just SunStar in Baguio. You also have SunStar Cagayan de Oro has ceased its operation back in June 30, 2020. So obviously it's sad to go. It's an icon in a sense because they've been in the industry for 3 decades. So it's a big achievement, but it's sad to go. Hopefully they can find a way to resuscitate the newsprint or the company, or find different ways to expand their reach, or maybe go to online newsprint.